What's up, YouTube? Welcome to KTV's movie review. So you guys, me and Mac just got done watching Annabelle Comes Home. So as I promised, I was going to do a movie review on it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So
Good.
It was actually pretty good, but it wasn't what I expected because I thought it was going to be way more scary than it was. But it did have some really scary parts. So you could start talking about how the movie began and like.
Say in black.
What?
Alright. So it begins with the Warrens taking the doll from these people.
Yeah, they're taking it because they reported it. Because if you remember in the first.
Oh yeah, we gotta say something.
What?
Spoiler alert. Kind of.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, because we're gonna be talking about this whole movie. And if you already saw a movie review, so. Okay, so continue.
So they took the doll and they this priest or pastor, I don't know what the difference is.
It was a priest. They took it to the room that the Warrens have in their house where they keep all the demonic stuff.
With the glass cage thing.
Yeah, but they put Annabelle in a rocking chair, and then he started saying all this stuff and holy water on it. And then they remember that they have this big glass cage that had a sign on it that said, "Warning, positively do not open." So they put that rocking chair and Annabelle inside that glass thing, locked it up, and then it started saying a whole bunch of text about how that this one movie will not be about a case, it will be about something that happened to their daughter. So, and then it said Annabelle Comes Home. So you can talk about it, what happens afterwards.
So, Judy, the girl's birthday, her birthday is coming up, and her babysitters are making the cake, burning the cake, the typical stuff. But
basically what happens is that, because you're missing a whole bunch of stuff,
yeah.
She goes to school, and she's getting picked on by a whole bunch of kids, and they say that they can't go to her birthday party because her parents say that they can't face death yet, and they're not able to take that in. So it's making those little kids think that Judy's house is if you go there, you're going to die. So, and basically, a whole bunch of kids say that they're not going to make it to her birthday party, and then she ends up seeing, at recess, a ghost of the principal that died from the school. And she brought the cross with her to school, and she ends up putting the cross right by her, and he just disappears. So she goes home with her babysitter, and her babysitter's friend shows up. What's her babysitter's friend name? I forgot. It was
I
don't know. So they just Daniela. So Daniela, she comes over because she wants to explore the Warren house. And then what's the actual babysitter's name? Yeah, I don't know either. I forgot. It's an hour ago when we watched the movie. So then they she gives Judy early birthday present in their roller skates. So the babysitter and Judy go outside to go ride the roller skates, and Daniela say that she'll keep a lookout on the cake. But instead she ends up finding the keys to the room with all the demonic stuff. She goes in there and she starts touching everything. And then she actually lets Annabelle out of her cage. And she gets out, she goes out because she starts to get creeped out. And when she walks back out, the cake's being burnt, and the babysitter and Judy walk back in, and they just fix the cake. And then they go out to feed chickens. And Daniela and Judy, they're talking about how Judy's friends aren't going to her birthday parties because of the stuff going on, saying that they're gonna die if they go there. And then one of the kids' names is what was it? Antonio? Yeah, Antonio. Anthony. And then Daniela says that she's Anthony's older sister, and that Judy has to go light on him is because it's been a rough year. And then out of the get-go, doesn't even say anything, but Judy says, "You lost someone, huh?" And then they start talking about how her dad died. And right when she says that, she turns around and she sees her dad standing in the Warren house. So she walks over there and she starts exploring the rooms, and then the babysitter's trying to ask Daniela, what's going on? But she's just like walking around the room, and then they end up looking at the files, like the cases that the Warrens have investigated. So they start looking at it and all that stuff, and goes on from there. And then paranormal stuff starts happening to Judy, to where she sees a lady in a dress with a knife chasing her, and then she takes the cross and she starts saying some stuff, and that makes the person go away. And then it starts to get even more creepy after they start to order a pizza, and then the babysitter's boyfriend, well, soon-to-be boyfriend, Bob, shows up.
Bob's got balls.
Bob's got balls. They keep on saying that in the movie. Bob's got balls.
Bob's got blue balls.
Well, anyways, so they were talking and stuff, and then the pizza delivery man shows up, giving them their pizza, and as the pizza's going on, the lights shut off as Judy's eating her pizza, and then the TV shuts off, and she remembers the remote's underneath the couch. She looks under the couch, moves the remote, and she sees Annabelle looking on the other side. So she gets up to look over, and then the lights suddenly turn on, and then they start singing Happy Birthday. Daniela sings Happy Birthday, and the baby
The lights were off.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, they stayed off.
So then Judy gets into bed, and then it goes on from there. And then Daniela ends up to leave, like she has to leave. And then Bob shows up with a guitar, starts singing and like being all cringy and stuff. And after the babysitter comes downstairs, a werewolf comes out, but it's like possessed by a demon, and starts chasing Bob around, and then Bob ends up hiding somewhere. So then Daniela ends up trying to leave, but she remembers she still has the keys to the room. So she tries to go back in and lock the keys, but then the door opens all by itself. So she decides to go in, and it locks her in. So, and then Daniela starts experiencing like these ghosts that have coins over their eyes. It was the ferryman, that's what the ghost name was. And she would see people with like coins over their eyes, and they were just like that. And then she ends up saying, Judy, but Judy's sleeping, and then she looks over underneath her bed. She sees like a figure raising up from her bed. She looks under to see Annabelle laying there, and as she's getting ready to put it down, a little girl jumps out and like jumps onto her, and then her little light thing that goes around the room falls, and then every time the color changes, a different figure is standing behind Annabelle. You see the devil, you see the ferryman.
It went from Annabelle to this little girl
to ferryman.
Yeah, and then the girl,
the devil
with the knife, with the wedding dress.
Yeah.
And then the devil.
And then the devil ends up tackling.
Satan.
So then Judy finally opens the door, and the babysitter grabs her, and they run outside. No, they're running into the living room, and then they see Daniela, and then Daniela ends up like, no, actually, what happens is that the babysitter has an asthma attack, and then Judy remembers that her pacifier, what the fuck? What was it? What is it? Inhaler was in the car, so she runs out to go get it. But then, as she's in the car, she gets attacked by the werewolf inside the car. But then Bob ends up coming out and hits the werewolf with the guitar to give time for Judy to run away. But inside the house, Daniela ends up getting possessed by the the wedding dress with the knife. Ends up getting possessed by her. And then after the babysitter takes her inhaler, they end up realizing that Daniela is the girl in the dress. So then they start fighting her, and then they end up getting Daniela out of the girl in the dress. So then they end up realizing the only way to stop Annabelle is to put Annabelle back into her case. So they end up struggling, but they end up getting Annabelle, and they have to run back in, and then Judy ends up getting attacked by the devil. And then
devil's trying to take her soul.
Yeah, but then the babysitter ran in at the perfect time and distracted the devil, that made the devil let go of her. And as that's happening, the babysitter and Judy try pushing Annabelle back into the cage is because the cage door is struggling to shut. And then...
But you missed a little bit.
What?
When the devil was taking her soul, she reached back and grabbed the cross.
Oh, and put it to his head.
Forehead and started burning it.
Yeah. So the devil let her free, and then they try putting Annabelle back into her cage, but the cage door is struggling to close. And then out of nowhere, Daniela comes back and helps them and actually successfully puts the closet door back on, the cage door back on, and they lock it and everything goes away. So then then Bob shows up, and then the next morning their parents come back and Bob and Daniela leave. And then it skips to a week later to where it is Judy's birthday party, and she expects no one to come. Well, then the babysitter and Daniela show up. They show up, and then they walk in. Then she says, "We brought a few extra people," and it wasn't a few extra people. Mostly everyone from the school that she goes to ends up walking into her house, and
then Anthony shows up.
Saying sorry and all that stuff, and then she lets him in, and they start just like having a fun time. And then it zooms in on a picture of Judy, Ed, and Lorraine, and then it ends up showing an actual picture of them, like the actual picture that they took, and then it says, "Rest in peace, Lorraine Warren, 1927 to 2019. So rest in peace, Lorraine Warren. So that is the full movie review for Annabelle Comes Home. But we are going, and on a scale of 1 to 10.
One part.
What?
When Bob went in there.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? The guy Warren.
Ed Warren.
Ed Warren. He said,
Bob's got balls. Yeah, that wasn't really an important part. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this movie?
An 8.5, because I thought it would be scarier.
Yeah, the same with me, an 8.5.
There are a few jump scares that maybe go like that.
Yeah, same.
But it wasn't.
So we are going to go look at the Rotten Tomato score and see if they have an accurate score to what we feel. So guys, we just checked the score, and Annabelle Comes Home has a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you agree with the score?
No, it deserves more.
It deserves.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I think it deserves probably like an 81%, maybe a 75%.
Next, we just gotta do Far From Home.
Yeah. So
Lion King.
Crawl.
It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Crawl.
Yeah. So
It Chapter 2.
the next movie you could possibly expect for a movie review is Spider-Man: Far From Home. That's most likely going to be the next one. And then afterwards, this is what I think it's going to be in order: Spider-Man: Far From Home, Crawl, The Lion King. And what movies are coming out in August? Good Boys,
and then September is
Hobbs and Shaw, and then It Chapter 2. So yeah, you guys got a lot of movies coming your way for movie reviews. So bye, you guys. Make sure you like this video. Check out my 2 previous videos: the Jumanji trailer review and the Little Mermaid cast review. Bye, you guys, and I'll see you next time for stop that. We'll see you next time for a movie review.